currently I'm looking at just testing some different software as far as running the hotspot and controlling the hotspot and making connections and routing, etc, etc. I did, as I showed you earlier in the series, started off with DV Node, or Windows DV, I think it's also called. And what I've actually done is found that through the initial testing phase, as again I would have shown earlier in the series, that when I had it set up on the laptop, I was finding it to be a little bit unstable and it was crashing. And initially I put that down to the hardware, basically saying that, you know, it might have been the laptop, it was a little bit closer to the radio, it may not have been up to the task, it might have been receiving some RF interference and that was causing it to fall over, etc. Since changing it over to the desktop PC, I'm seeing that it seems to continue with that trend and not be completely stable. So it's unlikely that it's the hardware on both of those things. I am going to check it on another laptop that I've got laying around and test it on that just to be 100% sure. And I have actually seen some information on the net that suggests that it's not the most stable software to use, that while most people like it and it seems to have an easy to use interface, the DVAR, which is the one you see on the screen currently, is a little bit more stable. I guess the issue that I've got is that I've had some problems where I've been away and I've been doing some testing remotely, and the way I've been attempting to test remotely is have it all set up and just trying to link and unlink from different reflectors or repeaters around, and that's obviously given me an idea whether or not I can actually control it via RF, which has given me an idea of range, and just some understanding of how the actual operation of it's going to work remotely. Whether I can set up some filters to only have myself control it, whether the filters are going to accept my call sign, etc, etc. Anyway, getting back to the point, I've had some issues with DV Node where it's just locking up. This will be while I'm sitting here at home. Sometimes it's accepting an RF instruction, sometimes it's not. It seems a little bit hit and miss. And what I'm actually finding is that whilst I'm remote, it just stops responding, and I'll come home and the software's fallen over and it's not responding at all. Obviously that can cause an issue because at times when I'm trying to control it remotely and it falls over, it may do what it hasn't done it yet, but it may do what I've seen it do here at home, and it just goes into transmit mode. And obviously blocks off the frequency. It's going to heat up the radio quick smart, just leaving it locked on, albeit that I've got timeout set fairly low at this point, sort of 3 and 5 minutes. So those things should come into play if the software plays up. But obviously you don't want that sort of thing happening when you're away from home, and you want sort of a nice stable software to be running. So currently I'm actually testing DVAR, and I'm going to show you a couple of quick things that I've noticed between the two. There is, as far as the config and all that sort of stuff, they're fairly similar. At this point you still want to use your NAWin config and your NAWin test software. You're still going to use that to initially configure the node adapter itself, and the works it's having on your desktop. What I'm finding is sometimes when the software falls over and it seems to be non-responsive, I'm jumping into the test software, running a few tests, seeing that it is actually working, can confirm that the radio is actually working, and it's actually the software that's giving me the issue. It's just handy to be able to rule things out. Occasionally though, I have also found that they have been unresponsive. I've been trying to run some tests and have been unsuccessful. Getting the headers come through and doing the usual tests that we went through in sort of video 2 or 3, where you're looking for the headers and you're looking for the green line below the gaps and all that sort of stuff, and I'm not getting a read at all. Yet then I'll go over and open up DV Node and I'm able to connect and everything's operating just fine, so I'm not having problems there at all. So I guess the problem here, and just through the testing phase, is I haven't had a successful QSO yet at this point. I'm looking forward to that hopefully soon, but I need to know that the software and everything's going to run comfortably, and then I'll probably have a QSO from home, and then look to do QSOs outside. I'm also in the process of doing some testing as far as which band I want to use. I've done some testing with 2 meters to see how far away I can get, and I've also done some testing with 70 centimeters. Obviously I live in a built up area, so I was thinking possibly UHF or 77s may give better penetration and maybe give me a little bit better coverage. I'm not exactly line of sight to where I'm at work, and thus far 2 meters I have been able to receive and listen at work on the HT, but I haven't been able to get back in. So I've had it running 50 odd watts from the base, projecting out, so that's obviously why I could pick that up and receive it, but going back in I wasn't able to get back in with the 5 watts in the HT. Obviously I expect that to be different when I start operating mobile and can push the power there a little bit and have a better antenna. Just a really quick skim and comparison of the 2 softwares. So with DVAR on the screen currently, I've already done the config, and I'll just give you a really quick look at the configuration screen. Very similar settings to what you're going to need to set up the DV node, which is basically just your call sign. I've got a pin in there for gateway, but obviously gateway doesn't work on your simplex hotspots. It's only for gateways and obviously repeater scenarios. There's logging. This offers the ability to do digital voice recorder settings, or digital voice record. It looks like it gives you the ability to record QSOs and then delete them after a certain time frame. I don't think that's available in DV node. You can obviously, same as DV node, as you can use it for simplex or repeater type scenario. Don't ask me about the repeater stuff though, because obviously we're just doing simplex for the hotspot scenario. It does give you the option down here of transmit mode. Hopefully you can see that in the bottom, move it up a little bit. You've got transmit mode down here, and you're going to say that we want to use the node adapter, and then down the bottom here you also need to say that you want to use the node adapter for receive. Both softwares give you the ability to ID yourself and transmit out an ID code. I'm not sure whether that's done digitally, whether that's done via CW, or what the process is there. Obviously I haven't listened to myself and just left it on standby, so I'll probably do that at a later date. It's also going to ask you for a band module here. And again, we've gone with C because we've done most of our testing on 2 meters. So you can choose your call sign server. Again, you've got options here. I think DV node actually gives you 3 options, and previously these haven't worked for me, but this one seems to have come live. Similar options to the other. You choose your node, your reflector, your repeater. Choose your reflector or your repeater, and go out that way. You can manually config. Looks like you need to know the gateway address, the IP, and which port you want to go into, etc, etc. So for all intents and purposes, just leave it on select repeater, choose your repeater, hit save, and go connect. So you can do it manually, and both of them have manual options. The details down the bottom are a little bit different, and I'm going to do just a quick connect instruction from the radio, and just watch up the top here. You'll see how quickly it actually connects. It's actually showing disconnect up the top. Hopefully that's focused in nicely. I'll give the link command, and just watch how quickly it links, and we're connected. Like it's all but instantaneous. I'm going to show you that same thing once we get over to DV node, and just keep in mind how quickly that actually connects. I do find with both of the softwares that you have to have an open channel to disconnect. I thought you would have the ability to disconnect via RF regardless of what's going on.
Kilo Delta 5, Juliet Papa, mobile.
There we go. So we just had somebody just putting in a CQ, KD5 Juliet Papa. As with DV node, DVR DVAR, which is what we're running here at the moment, has this transmit and receive, which seems to run consistently, which again isn't represented by the board. So you're going to have to assume at this point that that's some sort of internet connection or something going on, waiting to receive packets. So look, that's a real quick and dirty look at DVAR. I'm going to shut that down. Oh, just one thing that you are able to do is, like I said, you can't do an RF instruction via DVAR or DV node to disconnect, but what you can actually do is do a manual disconnect and actually click on the disconnect if you're sitting at your PC. Keep in mind though that if you're out in your remote, you can't do that via RF. Now I'm just going to issue a disconnect command and just watch how quickly this disconnects. And disconnected all but immediately, as soon as it receives the instruction, disconnected, and we're off. You are limited to what you can actually configure and alter while you're actually connected. So we'll close that down. Going to open up WinDV or DV node. Here we go. And you'll see it straight away. It's actually made a connection and recognises the node adapter. It's saying that it's the device ID 300 and it gives me the firmware details here. Now we're going to again issue a connect command via RF, via the HT, and just watch how quickly it resolves this and actually brings it up. Now I'm finding with this I've actually got to key down a little bit longer to actually get the instruction to go through, and here we go. Show the command down the bottom. Thinking about it. Waiting, and it says resolving up the top there, trying, and we're connected. Now that actually took, a good 5 seconds probably, I would say, off the top of my head, not that I was counting. So that's, I guess, one disadvantage of this. I'm going to issue a disconnect command in a second, and you'll actually be able to watch the time frame again it takes for the command to be received and then be actioned. And I actually want you to listen. If you're a regular Dstar user, you're used to your handsets or your radios advising you that you're linked or unlinked. One of the benefits of DV node is you can actually set it up to give you those voice acknowledgements. So here goes the unlink, and I've currently got it set up for a female voice as far as the acknowledgements goes. I think it just sounds a little bit better. Here we go, issuing the disconnect. There it is down the bottom. Releasing. There's my acknowledgement beep.
Gateway unlinked.
And we're disconnected. So there you go. So it actually takes several seconds between it actually receiving the command, interpreting it, obviously actioning it, and getting the result that you're after. Quite often with DV node, I'm finding that it would receive the command, but it doesn't action it, or I'll be keying up, it doesn't seem to receive the command at all. There's no command details coming on the screen down here at the bottom. Sometimes it appears to be unresponsive and it seems to have received the command and interpreted it, and you get the correct RF command down the bottom here, and then it'll just sit there for a while and all of a sudden it'll connect up. As far as audio, etc., over the both, I don't notice any difference. I don't know whether that's possible, whether they have any impact on the audio that's received or not. But at this point, I guess I'm leaning towards DVAR. It seems to be a little bit more responsive and quicker to do acknowledge the commands and action the commands. It does certainly appear to be a little bit more stable, but I haven't done a lot of away from the desk testing as far as RF commands. The one thing, and I don't know whether this is possible yet at this stage, is with DVAR, I don't know whether there's voice acknowledgements. I really want those acknowledgements, because when you're remote and you're trying to link, unlink, it really helps to let you know what the status of your hotspot is, and what command you need to issue next. If you're trying to connect and you're already connected, there may not be a QSA going on, but you keep issuing the connect command and it just keeps beeping it. You don't know whether you're connected or not. At least if you've got an acknowledgement, it'll say already linked, and you know what's going on, and either you're connected to the repeater or the reflector that you wanted to link to, or you need to just issue a disconnect command and then try again. So I'm really interested in people's opinions. So if you're watching this series of videos and you're up to this point and you're already a Dstar user, You know, whether you're using DV dongle, whether you're using you know, the DVAP, or if you're using a node adapter like I'm using here, I'd be really interested in if you'd take the time to post up some comments and let me know your opinions. You know, if you think I'm doing something wrong, if there's something a simpler way of doing it, and you know, just any general information. You know, which software do you think's better, or you know, is more productive or more effective for you? Have you found any fixes for any of the instability with DV Node? Have you found any way to switch on the voice acknowledgements in DVAR? Granted, I haven't gone through it completely. So, you know, all of these things, I'd really like this to be a forum and a sharing of knowledge. So if you've got something that I've missed or need to know and can share in the next video possibly, you know, I'd love for you to post up and share that. And as far as programming the radios goes, I'm doing a bit of testing there as well. I'm in the process of trying to program up the IC91 and also the ID800H. So I'm having a bit of a play with both of those, finding even though they both are ICOM and they're both Dstar radios, they are a little bit different in the way that they like to be programmed, and the way then that you need to manage those memories once you actually go live and use it. I'm finding, and I'm not sure whether this is correct or not, but I'm finding with the ID800 that I need to use the your call memories, which it only has 99, before I can actually use them in a memory position. Now, I'm not going to be really happy with that if that's the case. It doesn't appear that I can enter in a your call into a memory position for, you know, for example for linking up or just putting out a call, unless it's already installed or saved in the your call memory positions. That'll make a bit more sense later on when I show you. But so if anybody else has got some input on the ID800, and if that's not necessarily correct, love for you to speak up and let me know. Alright, look, really appreciate you taking the journey with me. Hopefully we're going to start having some success soon. I'll find one of these bits of software that's actually going to be a bit more stable and a bit more reliable, which will let me do some more tests remotely, and we'll go from there. Hopefully we'll get a QSO or a couple of QSOs out of the way, and then we'll get on to sort of radio programming and just general usage. Thank you to everybody who's also subscribed along this way. I've noticed I've picked up a few subscribers since starting this series of videos, so I appreciate that. That obviously gives me an idea that people are liking it. Thank you to the people that have actually said like to the videos. I appreciate that as well. Again, that lets me know I'm actually putting out something there that's useful and helpful. But most of all, look, I appreciate your comments. It means to me that you've taken the time to do so, and obviously I get value out of that as well. Again, this is Brett. Thanks very much for coming with me, and look to talk to you soon. Have a good day.